Hello and what is up YouTube? My name is G3Iron and welcome. We just got some announced changes to rewards in Path of Exile Scourge. So let's see what those changes are, because I know a whole bunch of folks have been just giving feedback and providing feedback on the feeling, as it were. Yeah, I think feeling is probably the best word to use rather than thought. The feeling of the reward level or the reward engagement or the payoff, as it were, of popping into the other zone, into the nightmare zone and popping out of it. There's been a lot of discussion of that since Scourge has come out. Of course, there's been a lot of optimization. There's been lots of good things about the league, but there is the issue of rewards. So today, Grinding Gear Games came out with this. Let's read it and see what they're saying. It's been 1 week since we launched Path of Exile Scourge. In addition to the what we're working on post we described yesterday, we wanted to share what's changing about Scourge's rewards in today's patch. Problem: it is too difficult to create enough Scourge maps to engage with the content as much as players wanted to. Okay, this is kind of a cool way to word this problem, because essentially, this is GGG saying, hey, we feel like you guys want to be playing more Scourge, and you want more Scourge maps, and Scourge is really good, and you're enjoying it, but you can't interact with it enough. So that's an interesting way of phrasing it. That's not necessarily the way how I would have phrased the last couple of days where the feedback from folks in the community, but that's interesting. Okay, so here's their solution. Solution: maps now require approximately 50% less corruption to be transformed. This means that some maps or Scourge tiers, it should now be possible to chain Scourged maps back to back. Now that's pretty awesome. That's the ideal. I think that's the ideal for this league. Problem: there is not enough incentive for facing the difficulty of staying inside the nightmare for extended periods of time. I would word that exactly as so. Solution: we have doubled the item quantity and item rarity bonus granted by the exposed to corruption debuff and have removed diminishing returns from it. Wow. Okay. That's really good. That's all there is to say on that. That is really, really good. So, yeah, things will be better. Better stuff will drop more frequently now. That's good. Okay, problem: Scourge maps are not rewarding enough in proportion to the level of risk they pose. Solution: increase the reward from Scourge maps. Oh man, we're getting bribed here to play POE, and that's okay. We all love POE, so why not get bribed to play it too? Scourge maps can no longer generate the following modifiers: item quantity, item rarity, pack size, and experience. Existing maps with these modifiers will retain them and can be upgraded as normal. Scourged maps can still get the X additional item types from rare Scourge monster modifiers. Due to the absence of the other modifiers, these modifiers have become a lot more common, dramatically increasing their rewards from Scourge maps. Scourge map modifiers that cause rare monsters or rare Scourge monsters to drop additional currency items now drop 2 additional currency items. So do you all remember when Metamorph came out? And people were posting on Reddit, on the forums, on YouTube, on Twitch, on TikTok. No, TikTok wasn't a thing, I don't think, back in during Metamorph. But do you remember when folks would go in and kill Metamorphs and they would drop like multiple Exalteds, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, look at this, the Metamorph, he dropped a bunch of currency items, this is great. And then everybody started farming currency Metamorphs. It was great. Well, this looks like that. Like if you drop something now, it's going to be good. It's going to drop additional currency. Something that's going to drop currency is going to drop some more currency. So that's good. Okay, next problem. It's too difficult to find powerful pre-scourged items, which drop occasionally while inside the nightmare. Solution: dramatically increase the tier of scourged modifiers you find on pre-scourged items, especially while in maps. For example, you'll now find approximately twice as many tier 3 scourged items as before in maps. That's good. The above solutions will be deployed in a patch today. We are also working on another upcoming improvement that we'll deploy next week. Scourged items will no longer be able to generate downsides that would directly counteract their upside. For example, an item with added physical damage will not be able to generate deals no physical damage as a downside. I legitimately saw a discussion. I think it was on the forums I can't remember now. I've looked at so many things today. I think it was on the forums, but it might have been on Reddit, where somebody said, "Hey, this is a great league just for the memes. I'm making it my league goal to make the worst possible Krangled item out there." The worst possible Scourged item. So this is kind of funny. It is kind of funny, like when you roll top tier added fizz, and it's like, yeah, you don't deal any physical damage. Or it's like, oh, what's the negative? Minus X to socketed, gems. Oh, what's the upside? Like something related to gems. Anyway, it's been pretty funny to see some of those floating around. Well, these look good. Like GGG wants to bribe us and really ramp up the overall drops and the overall reward of interacting with Scourge. 2 thumbs up. Bribe us to play Path of Exile. Like, give us more tools to be able to do the stuff we want to do, which is like Scourge maps and going into the Nightmare and transitioning into there and seeing our debuff count rise, and then also actually experiencing and really feeling good about the drops that we get because of that. Anyway, feel free to leave a comment down below with what you think. I think it's great. I think more drops are good. I have always been of the opinion that in digital video game simulated, non-real world economies, it is a good thing when you can have multiple layers of jobs, essentially a breakdown of jobs, where you could have low map farming or early map farming or darkness farming, something where like, hey, I just killed Kitava and I'm going into maps. How can I repeatedly farm something that's a relatively low difficulty zone and make currency for me to push my build and go further? I've always been a fan of that. When GGG gives players clear upgrade paths and clear steps to going along and finding those upgrades, that is the best. That is good. And that's what this does. This says, not necessarily like low tier maps, but this says, hey, you want to play in Scourged maps. We're going to make it easier for you to just play in Scourged maps. You could go into a Scourge map and corrupt another Scourge map and then go play more Scourge maps. That's good. Like, that's what we want to do when we really like a league mechanic. Whatever league mechanic it is that you like, you want to be able to do that. So GGG is giving us steps. Like, we already know where we want to go, and now they're giving us incremental steps so we can follow along to get there. We all know that there is statistically a benefit to hanging out inside the Nightmare. As your debuff goes bigger and it's riskier, there is a numerical advantage for your item drops moving forward from that. There's supposed to be an advantage. That's the theme, that's the goal. And now they're going, hey, yeah, we're going to reduce diminishing returns from that because it feels worse to push further and then be rewarded less. Like, that's a really, really good thing. Things that are going to drop that are Krangled or get Krangled, no longer like Xing out their Krangle. Like, there's no point in having the corruption when the benefit crosses out or is crossed out by the drawback. There's no point to having the item. It's like the item doesn't even exist. Like, oh, here's some extra regen, minus percentage regen. Oh, here's some added flat life, but some minus maximum percentage life. Like, there's so many that are like that. And maybe there aren't so many, right? Maybe it's recency bias. It's bias because we've seen them and they become stories, rather than, hey, this is the prevalent result of most items that we're picking up. But these all look good. These all sound good, and so hopefully these are all good. And also, by the way, props to GGG for getting this out prior to the second weekend of the league. Like, that's really good. There's a lot of players who only can play on the weekends. I've actually had more time to play this week than I thought, but less time to play this week than I hoped. And so I've had fun playing during the week, but not everybody has that. For a lot of players playing video games, the weekend is when they get to play, or the weekend is when they get the most majority of their time to play. And so getting something right to improve the reward structure of a league by the second weekend is a very, very important thing. I think it's a critical thing, both for player retention as well as just for player perception of a league moving forward, like determining whether or not players in general like a league. Players getting rewarded and having stories to tell about really awesome items and really awesome crafts and really awesome currencies and really awesome deaths and really awesome characters. That all gets shaped relatively early on in leagues because that's when the vast majority of players are playing. So I think getting things out by the second weekend is a really, really healthy thing. And I think GGG has done that a couple of times over the last couple of years, and it's generally been a good thing. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Feel free to drop us a comment down below. And as always, I hope this league, the Scourge League 316, is the league. A Mirror of Calandra drops for you. If you'd like any more information about the topics we chatted about today, links are provided down below in the video description. The G3 community has grown a ton over the last several years, and that's thanks to viewers like you and faithful Patreon supporters. Big shout out to longtime supporters and first-time supporters for this month.